Hello Stitchers, it's Jenny from Jenny Stitches and thank you for joining me back on my channel today. I am back with, I guess, what you would call the follow-up to the video that I posted before I went off on holiday. If you haven't watched that video, you probably need to go and watch that first for any of this to make sense. However, that is my most viewed YouTube video ever. So if you're new here, hello. It's lovely to have you on board. I didn't think when I posted that video that it would reach a new audience, but there we go. It's lovely to have you along. So I just wanted to start by saying an absolutely enormous thank you. I've had a bit of time to reflect over the last few weeks on all of the incredible comments and messages and emails and things that I've received, and yeah, it's been a lot. It's been an emotional time. It's been there's been a lot of sort of thinking and reflection, and it was a difficult video to put out there in terms of, I don't think anybody wants to admit that they're not doing very well. For me, there's a lot of sort of pride involved in that, and sort of the fear of judgment, if you will. So it was quite a step, but I'm very glad that I did it because the response that I've had has been utterly overwhelming, and I am just so grateful that that this business and this little community that we have means as much to you as it does to me. And yeah, if I already had my reasons for why I don't want to give up on Jenny Stitches, and it's just tenfold since since that. So onwards, we're definitely going onwards, but the purpose of this video, I guess, was I wanted to give you a little bit of an update, and I wanted to answer some of the sort of frequently asked questions and address some of the points that were made, both in the video and through some of the sort of more direct communications that I've had from you guys. The feedback that I've received has been really, really, really helpful. I think I tend to have a habit of talking myself out of doing things, and it's really nice to sort of get that sort of feedback that's really positive and really encouraging on how I could do things differently. So yeah, that's been amazing. But yes, just wanted to start with that massive thank you. I've got my phone because I've summarised some of the questions and some of the themes, and I've got my cup of coffee so we can get stuck in and we'll have a chat about what is what. So okay, so one of the key themes that came out of all of your comments was that I could increase my prices, and I can definitely say that that will happen. I don't like increasing prices, but yep, definitely from a business sense, that makes a lot of sense. I would like to say that my pricing strategy is not entirely guesswork, but at the moment, I think we could definitely do with that uplift in sort of gross margin, if you will, on the sales that we have. So yes, increasing prices is certainly one lever that we've got to pull in this situation, and I will be doing that. It won't be a phenomenal increase, just a slight uplift to sort of make those gross margins better. So there we go. But I should say that one of my aims with the business is never to sort of charge daft prices. So we won't be going into the realms of really, really, really high priced. I always want to keep it good value where we can. Okay, so another common question was, would I consider crowdfunding? Now, previous to filming that video, I would have said absolutely not, because I have seen a couple of local businesses attempt crowdfunding, and it's worked out quite badly. However, that's definitely a sort of preconceived notion that I've got of it, and reading all of your comments and your eagerness to get involved in something like that has led me to do a bit more research into crowdfunding. So I will be looking at that as a viable option, but obviously there's a bit of work to do there around what we would specifically crowdfund for, and kind of what benefits you could then receive if you were to contribute to crowdfunding. So I've got a couple of ideas that are swimming around the back of the brain, so I'll let you know when that's when that comes to the fore, but that is definitely an option. I just don't want that to be a kind of like emergency capital kind of crowdfund, nothing like that. I want that to be towards something specific. I do have a couple of things in mind, particularly around sort of purple packages and around filming of content and things like that, which I'll go into a bit more in a while. So yes, crowdfunding is definitely number 2 in my sort of toolkit of options, if you will. So the other suggestion that came up, which is probably the one that I will implement soonest, was pre-orders. Lots and lots of you had suggested implementing pre-orders, and I think that's a really, really good idea. I just didn't think, when I'd considered it in the past, that it's something that you would like. But if you guys are happy with that, yes, we can absolutely do pre-orders. And I think anything that helps me to shorten that sort of cash cycle, if you will, from ordering from the supplier to making the sale is really helpful, because we're not tying up money. And also that should prevent sort of investment in stock that doesn't sell particularly well. Also, if I can open pre-orders for you guys and you can put your pre-orders in, then there's less chance of people missing out, which kind of works better, because I know some of you become frustrated when things sell out quickly. So I would much rather give you the option to pre-order, and then everybody's happy. so yes, with some of the core ranges, particularly as we go into autumn and winter, we'll be offering a pre-order for those. So there will be more details coming on those in the next couple of weeks. I will still be dropping in bits of stock fabric, in particular for sort of more limited edition print runs, just as we go, just to keep a bit of interest, but definitely with those core basics. You know, I'm sort of thinking ahead now to autumn and winter, and I'm thinking about things like cords and sweatshirts and velvets and all that good stuff. So all that nice warm snuggly stuff. Yeah, pre-orders are the way there. So thank you for that. So yep, pre-orders was number 3 in the toolkit. Number 4, which I was so pleased to read about this in the comments. I'm just going to have some coffee. Was a sort of VIP style subscription model. Now, if you've been here a little while and you're on the mailing list in particular, I did send out a customer survey earlier this year asking for your feedback just on how we're doing, what you think we could do differently. And one of the things at the end of the customer survey that I was asking about, and I was trying to sort of gather some data on, was potentially setting up a subscription service. And that's not for kits, that would be more as a sort of, I guess, like a community-based subscription, so with maybe sort of sew-alongs, exclusive access to maybe pre-orders, you know, sort of being able to order purple packages before everybody else, that kind of thing, just with perks and club benefits. So that is something that I was already thinking about doing, but I will be honest, I was getting nervous about whether anybody would actually want that. So this is my problem, you see. So to read all of your comments suggesting that was fantastic, because that's a kind of a green light. So we will definitely be setting something up along those lines. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to call it yet. I'm still sort of working through the logistics of how that's going to actually work. But yes, I'm hoping in September there will be it's sort of a VIP community of sorts, but it needs a good name. If you do have any good name suggestions, please pop them in the comments. because yeah, I don't want to call it like a VIP club or anything like that. That's a bit boring. I think it needs to be something interesting. So yes, excited about that, and I hope you'll join. And that is, as well, it's a good way to just be able to, at a relatively low cost, just sort of keep a rolling subscription and support in place. That's really good. Okay, so some questions around stock. So some people asked why fabrics sell out quickly and don't come back. And I guess that might be sort of newer customers that have asked about those. And I think I did touch on that in the previous video, but Live at 5 and the Spill in the Tea emails have turned into what I could only describe as a selling machine, which is great. So I have been working really hard in the last 12 months or so to build like some really good regular, consistent sales activity. And I guess the entire reason why I'm in this situation is because I have generated more demand than I can afford to supply at this time. So what happens when you are buying and selling fabric on a wholesale basis is you have to buy a minimum quantity of each line. That's usually around sort of 12 to 15 meters on a bolt or a roll. And you then have to hit a minimum order quantity to be supplied. And that's a term that varies from supplier to supplier. But generally there is a minimum order value to prevent obviously sort of retail customers accessing wholesale prices. If you want wholesale pricing, you've got to be buying in a quantity that's worthy of stock in a shop, say. So that's quite standard. And it takes time in terms of that cash cycle to be able to take money in from selling fabric to being able to actually pay for it. Because I guess from the outside looking in, you might think, if I've sold all of that fabric that I bought last week, I should be able to go and buy some more next week. And ideally, yes. However, at least 50% of the profit that we're making on that fabric then has to go back into sort of overheads, rent, rates, water, electric, staff, you name it. So it takes longer for that proportion of the profit margin on the fabric to actually wash through and be able to pre-order. And I can't simply just rack up lots and lots of invoices with my suppliers. I have to pay them consecutively. You have credit limits and so on. So that's why fabrics don't come back into stock so quickly. But pre-ordering would definitely be a way of getting around that. So that's good. So I hope that clarifies that. So another question was, can I offer kits, fabric plus pattern to manage stock better? Yes and no. So we already do offer some kits through the Purple Packages brand. However, attempting to get into kits is possibly one of the reasons why I have slightly landed in this situation, if I'm entirely honest. Offering kits means that you have to, without pre-orders, just caveat that, offering kits means you have to buy in a lot of fabric and a lot of patterns to make a stock of the kits to sell. If those kits do not sell, then you are stuck with a huge amount of fabric and it's all tied up. I have found as I have started to produce kits that the first 4 or 5 all sold out within minutes. And I was sort of getting people being a bit cross that I hadn't created more stock. and disappointing people. So with the last major sort of Purple Package kit that I did in the spring, which was the Closet Core Fran pyjamas, I thought, right, I'm going to go all out this time. I'm going to get plenty of stock. I'm going to get plenty of patterns. and you can guess the outcome. Yes, it sold, but it really didn't sell that well. And I was lumped with quite a lot of patterns, which I still have left over, and quite a lot of the double gauze fabric, which we have cleared mostly through in the summer sale. However, cash-wise, for me, that was a disaster. So, you know, I'm learning through these experiences. You know, sometimes it's going to hit right and it's going to sell really well. Other times, it's just not. And in that case, that kit did not sell particularly well. And, you know, we just have to chalk that up to experience. In terms of using kits as a way to increase and improve cash flow, I don't think that is really the answer, unless I did a few, and I may well do a few just sort of limited run little kits of what we have in stock right now. But what we want to avoid is a situation where I need to buy more things to sell more things, if you see what I mean. So I hope that answers that question okay for you. The next question was, are overheads eating into stock money? Some people had sort of speculated about whether downsizing or sharing the space might help, which are great suggestions. So I can tell you that my overheads are very well controlled. I am actually very happy with the overhead size that we have for the business. It's not excessive. Yes, this is a large shop. It's a large unit, but I negotiated a really good lease. And I'm still shocked that I managed to do that. And in fact, the only fear that I have going forwards is that when I get to the end of my lease term, that it will likely go up, and it's wondering by how much. So for now, overheads are definitely well controlled. If I wanted to downsize, I wouldn't be able to, because I am committed to a lease. So that is not an option. I don't want to downsize anyway. I was in a much smaller unit and I wasn't able to offer half of the things that I'm offering now. So going backwards would not be a way to go forwards. Sorry, what else did that say? Sharing the space is an option. However, there are a couple of practical considerations with this unit. There is only one way in to this building, and there is one toilet in this building, and it's very small. So practically, to have another business up here wouldn't work that well. It wouldn't be particularly well self-contained. It wouldn't be particularly secure to separate the two. So that's not a route that I would like to go down. I think it could end up causing me a lot more hassle than benefits, but it is still a good suggestion nonetheless. Okay, right. I'm gonna have some coffee before I answer this one, because I feel like this is controversial. So, one of the most frequently asked questions that I've had through this video, through my emails, and just in general is, can I ship to the US? And at the moment, the answer is no, absolutely not. Now, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't like to. I would love to ship worldwide, but let me explain. From a practical standpoint, I used to offer global shipping, and during lockdown, so back in 2020, I guess after Brexit was finalised, we had lockdown. Royal Mail changed their shipping costs, and the cost of shipping to the US rose dramatically. And at that point, I was sending the odd parcel over to US, Canada, Australia, but it was costing me an absolute arm and a leg. And the administration involved with it was just too much to make it worthwhile for me. Now, I know as a business, we have not fully exploited the UK marketplace by any means. There is so much more to go at in the UK, and so many new people to reach, and there's just so much more to do here on home turf before the international market becomes a necessity for the business. And I really don't want to exclude anyone by saying that. My favourite of all time, to make you laugh, is once somebody sent me an email and said, I think you're missing out by not shipping to America because it is a very big country, you know. I'm like, I'm well aware of that. So really at the moment, the admin, the cost, the goodness knows what the situation actually even is at the moment with tariffs and import charges. I simply am not going there. If I wanted to increase my sales strategy, I'm doing it in the UK to begin with. And that's not to say we won't ship to the US in the future, or if a much more affordable and simple option came up. But yeah, I hope that clarifies that one. And I'm really sorry, but it's, it's a nightmare. And one of the questions was, is international shipping ridiculously expensive? And yes, it is. It's hard enough to ship into Europe at the moment. Even to send to my customers in Northern Ireland, I've got to do extra paperwork, extra stickers on the bags. We've got Brexit, we've got GPSR. It's just a nightmare. If the governments of the world are definitely making it as hard as they can for us all. So yeah, hope that clarifies that one. Okay, what else do we have asked here? I think that's largely covering it because I don't want to sort of go on and on and on. Yeah. I know a few of you had made some really great suggestions about ways of increasing sales. And I just want to be really, really clear that what I was trying to explain in that previous video was not that I am struggling to generate sales, quite the opposite. Sales growth is going really well. What the issue is cash, and the two things are very distinct and separate. And I think that we have some really good strategies there to go forwards with. So I think if we're going to look at pre-orders, a content subscription, possible crowdfunding, price increases, I think that gives us a really good multi-pronged approach for how we can tackle this, or how I can tackle this. And yeah, we'll just keep going. And I'm not giving up. I'm very positive about the future. I am intimidated by the scale of the task that's ahead. I had thought that I would go on holiday and mull it all over. And I'll be honest with you, I just switched off entirely, which is absolutely what I needed to do. I just needed to stop thinking for a little while. I read so much while I was away. I think I read 3 books. I've been reading the ACOTAR series, if anybody's into the romantasy. I've just been reading those. And yeah, completely got myself into a different world and relaxed, which was lovely. But just before we came home, I really had that kind of Sunday night dread feeling of I've got to sort all this out when I get back, and it was quite anxiety ridden. So we will get there. I will keep you updated if you would like me to. Let me know if you'd like to see more sort of videos like this, and I can explain to you what we're doing and where we're at. But yeah, thank you for sticking with me. Please do keep an eye out for some of those changes and those new offers coming up. I would love your support with that. I'd really love to know what you want to be sewing in autumn and winter, so we can think about pre-orders, what kind of fabric bases, what kind of colours you want to see. That's going to be super duper helpful, and we'll have a really good chat about that on Friday nights live. And yeah, I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your continued support. If there's anything else you want to know, please do pop it in the comments. Please do be kind. I had more than one person tell me to just shut down my business, and that was pretty, and not phrased in a very kind manner. So just please think before you post. And yeah, if you're new here, thanks for joining us. And if you've been here for a long time, you mean the world. And I'm going to stop waffling and go and get to work. So thank you. I will see you on Friday for the live. Take care. Happy sewing. Bye bye.